Hello, we're Caroline and Ian, a British couple who've given up work, sold their house, given away their possessions and are travelling now in a 27-foot bus, Frankie, along with our Bernese mountain dog, Delilah.
So come and join us as we travel Europe and see how van life and Christian faith work together. We've decided that before we talk about where we go next, we would talk about what we thought of France for those who might be travelling out. Well, I have to admit that at first, when you look at all the things that you have to take with you, all the things that are rules of France, i.e. if you've got your van is over 4 tons, then or 3.5 tons, you have to get stickers all over it about blind spots, etc. Your lights, your triangle and bulbs and repair kits and various other things. And we honestly thought that when we were going to come over to France that it was going to be a place where the minute you get off the boat somebody was going to pull you up, you haven't got the right stickers, or you've come over and you shouldn't really be here and all that kind of thing. Really bringing over the English mentality is what I would like to say. But actually it was absolutely brilliant. It took us a couple of days or so to actually get into the French way of life, but we quickly realised actually that people weren't out to get you, that the French are very, very polite, very easy to get on with. They try hard to talk to you, and we tried hard to use some of our French. We've laughed together, we've cried together. There was one lady who came over about Delilah, and she'd lost her dog, and she came straight over and she tried to talk to us in French and let us know. We've prayed with a lady, we've met people along the way that have just been an absolute inspiration, and so France is brilliant. I would advise anyone to go over to France. Now, as opposed to Britain, finding places to stay is easy, very easy. I think half the reason why they don't put half the places on search for sites is because there's places everywhere, and you can even pull into motorway services and empty your toilets and collect water. They just absolutely love motorhomers. We never once got pulled up by the police, we never once got asked, even though I never actually ended up putting the stickers at the front, which I should have done, but I weren't sure exactly where they were supposed to go, so I left them until I could see where they were supposed to go. But so I drove all the way through France without. We got met by a lot of people. There was a couple of things on the road that were a little bit awkward. Obviously, once you get used to driving one side of the road and suddenly you're on the other side, it's very easy when you're pulling out of a junction to actually forget which side of the road you're supposed to be on. And I made a couple of mistakes where I got onto the wrong side, because some of the junctions are a bit misleading, but they have arrows to let everybody know where you're supposed to go. Motorways are great. You stay on the inside junction if you need to pull off like you would do in England, but the motorways, everybody just stays behind everybody unless you're overtaking, and as soon as they overtake they pull back over. So the motorways are only 2-lane roads, and there's very, very rare if we had a hold up unless we've gone into a really big city. And everything's sort of really well signposted and really well explained until you get right into the centre of France. When you get round the Bordeaux area, they don't speak English as much, but we all muddle through, and they accept our our silliness of trying to explain certain things, and yes, so I've really enjoyed France. We didn't want to tell you about our next place until we'd given you a summary. So my summary from France, one of the things that we never used, but they said that you needed them when you were in England, was the adapter for your electrics. Every single site that we went on was the English type 3-pin electrics for a motorhome, and I bought one and went out and bought the 2-prong one, and never used it once at all, so that just stayed in the packet. Never once found anything like that. The adapters for the water are virtually the same as they are, the screw-in type. If you just take a little adapter for screwing onto a hose thing so that you can put the end of your hose on, there's no, that's normal. Just trying to think if there was anything else actually. Everything is the same as it would be in England, apart from if you've got gas bottles, you've got, if your van has the connection at the side for gas, then you have to have the international connection that you put on when you go to a gas station to fill your bottles up. There's loads of garages that also have their equivalent of Calagas. So if you haven't got them, you can swap your bottles over. A lot of the bottles are actually plastic. They're really strange, but they do take Calagas. So over in Europe, it's called GPL rather than LPG, but it's dead easy. You can still see we had a bit of a trouble the first time that we filled up, but only because we tried to fill up. We connected the adapter to the van, connected the LPG connection from the pump onto the van, and I think it timed itself out, and so we were trying to get gas out of it, and we couldn't get anything out of it at all. So when the lady got a chance, she came out and just reset the pump, and after that was it. But the whole time that we were in France, which was close on to 2 weeks, I think we filled up twice. We've got 2 Calagas bottles, which I thought, we only filled up once. I have to admit that for us, because you've got the solar panels and it's been really hot, we haven't had the heating on, etc. So you might find yourself filling up a little bit more than that, but they are, so garages with LPG or GPL as they call it are everywhere. There's loads of places, virtually, well, I wouldn't say every garage, but a lot of the garages have the filling up capabilities. So that's better than England, I think, because a lot of the English ones are starting to close down, I believe. So it's getting harder and harder for people to actually fill their own gas bottles. As I say, in France, brilliant, no problems at all. One of the great things that happened was that the French love to drive around, and after the Bastille Day that we were at, the next weekend, the French turned around and said that weekend was a really busy weekend for travelling. So what they did was they dropped the price of the fuel by, Caroline says 20 cents, but it was actually 20, sort of like 20 pence or whatever. And it stayed at that. They never put it back up again. So fuel over in France is anywhere between 169 and 178 is probably the dearest that we've seen, and that's euros. So 178 euros is around about £1.50, £1.52 per litre, and so it is obviously cheaper. Last time when we left England, it was It was £1.99, just rising up to £2 per litre, so I don't know what it is now. So yeah, that was good. Food's easy, loads and loads of shops. They actually do Aldi and the Lidl. Parking up and places to park, and also and the size of our van, I was really a bit anxious that we wouldn't find places that actually took the size of our van, because ours is just over 8 metres. But I don't think we ever had a problem. I think there was one place that it was fairly tight, but they did say that if you've got an 8 metre van it would be difficult. So search for sites has been excellent. So yeah, no problem with that. I think getting used to the money and how the money works has been really good as well. Caroline has been helping out with the tolls. The problem is if you came over here on your own and you've bring over an English van, all the toll booths are on the other side, so I don't know how that'd work if there was only, if you only came out as a solo driver, you'd have to keep jumping out of your van while you collect your ticket and stuff. And obviously all the barriers to go into the airs and stuff are also there, all on the other side. So what I'll do is I'll put a couple of pictures of an air so that you can see what the airs are like. I don't think we got a picture of us filling up, but if I find one, I'll put that on as well. But the vans work really well. I honestly thought that we were going to come across loads and loads of hills and stuff, and to be honest, travelling all the way down from Calais down to the south of France, going through the Bordeaux area and that, so we're kind of staying more on the west coast. I don't think we came across a hill until we actually, after we left, well, just before we got to Saint-Tropez. We ended up in the hills by accident, but the van drove really well. And then after we left Saint-Tropez and we went to that Le Pez, whatever it was called, I can't remember what the name of it is now, just the others up in the hills, that was a bit of a struggle as well, getting up that road. But apart from that, everything else was absolutely fine. But then we weren't planning on actually trying to get into the Alps or anything, and we weren't looking at going to the Pyrenees. So if anyone has been to the Pyrenees, or if anyone's been around the Alps, if you could let us know whether you think that an 8 metre van, which does struggle a little bit, it does slow right down going up hills. I suppose most vans do, but ours goes really slow, feeling like it's really labouring. So but if you've been up those places before and you can give us some advice or tell us how good it is, that would be great. So that's my thoughts on France, is that the people are absolutely polite. The actually motorhome in France is even more simple than it is in Scotland. I really enjoyed Scotland because I found that quite easy to park up, and not too much problems there. But France, they absolutely love motorhomes, and it's been an absolute joy to be in France. We're hoping to come back and maybe actually do a bit more of the other side. And so if you're thinking of coming to France, good luck with it all, because it is absolutely brilliant.
So for me, the biggest joy of France was actually the people of France. I was just so thrilled with them. They were so incredibly accepting of us. Wherever we went, they wanted to chat. I think Delilah was a big help, obviously, because they were always asking about her. But just complete strangers just wanted to spend time with you. I remember having one conversation with a little old lady on a bench, and she just chatted and chatted away. Hadn't got a clue what she was saying. She had not got a clue what I was saying. We held each other's hands, and it was all that mattered. You know, we had that time together. They were very, very relaxed in everything they did. It was a case of no rush, no worry, everything will be good. One example was we actually got locked in a campsite. We still don't know what happened, but the barrier would not lift at all. And on that campsite, it was Bastille Day. I don't know if you remember watching the video, and there was loads of different nationalities. After an hour and a bit of trying to get out, people started to come over to help us. And just to explain how I feel about the French, the Dutch came over, and their conclusion in helping us was, I will get my spanners and I will dismount this barrier and I will get you out. You know, we were like, oh, please don't do that, you'll get electrocuted. And then the Germans came over and they were saying, phone the police, you are trapped, this is wrong, you have your rights, phone the police. And we thought, well, you know, that's a bit over the top, isn't it? And then the French came along, and the French just said to us, it is not a problem, we will wait, let us sort this out. And they did. They got on the phone for us, they sorted it all out, and it was just this come day, go day, beautiful attitude. And I think that shows in the way that they live and everything that they do as well. So national holidays are very family orientated. So there's not really this big idea of going out for days and going to the seaside. They actually spend time as families together, eating together, cooking together, and just being. And so too for the campsites. They've always got loads of sports areas, swimming pools, everything's free there. Parking is free, which is really, really good. So yeah, it's been a huge hit for us, France. I think the only disappointment is we've only done part of France, and I long to do the rest of France. The other thing is that I had been keeping a diary. So when I was in Scotland, we kept a diary for a couple of months, working out how much we were spending each month. And I've just kept that. And when we came over here, I did very much the same, just to analyse. And we looked at petrol, we looked at food, and we looked at gas. And I kind of thought, oh, it's going to be so much cheaper here. Actually, it wasn't. In the whole month, France was €2 dearer than the money that we were spending in England. The only bonus we've got now of living in a van is we are £1,000 better off, and that's because we now no longer pay poll tax, electric, gas, telephone, internet, water, all of those things that you would normally pay were about they were £1,000 a month. We don't pay them anymore. So that's the bonus that we're getting. But if you think you can actually live cheaper in a van, as in petrol, food and gas, it's not really going to happen. Europe is the same as over here. So France, absolutely love you, and can't wait to come back and spend time here. You are a very, very lovely people.